Good afternoon. I'd like to bring our Governance Committee and Council to order for June 20th, 2025. I'm Councillor Debbie Sharma, the Speaker and the Chair of this committee. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we're on Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Innu, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. We have joining us on the committee, Councillor John Orlando, Councillor Madeline Lauren, and Councillor Sean Dobson, our City Clerk, Mr. Carlos Gamero, and our Deputy City Clerk, Mr. Andrew Fortress. We have one item on the agenda today, the 2024 Councillors Ward Allowance CWA audit. Mr. Clerk?
Sure.
We have also a delegation with us or presenter on the report.
We do. So the Councillors Ward Allowance Fund Policy requires the City Clerk's Department to undertake a random selection process in January or February of each year to randomly select 5 councillors whose expenses are to be audited from the previous year. The 5 councillors that were selected for the audited of the 2024 expenses were councillors Duncan, Santos, Dobson, Chambers, and Lukes. And we do have the auditor Shannon Magnuson with us, who would be able to provide an overview of the findings of the audit.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Welcome, Shannon. We've been with you before for this report in past years. Thank you for working on the report, and over to you for your presentation.
Thank you so much, and nice seeing you all. And sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'll take you through our audit findings report, and if you had a chance to look at it ahead, you will notice it was a clean year for the 5 councillors that were selected. So I'll go very high level through the report, and I want to just point out that Mustafa Osman, who usually does this presentation, is on vacation, and he's very sad he can't present. He really enjoys it. So he's saying hi to you all. And I think Carlos, and I know he worked closely with you and really enjoys doing these audits. I'm sure councillors selected don't always enjoy it. Okay, but I'll go through the audit highlights. I'm on page 4 and 5 of the audit findings report. So our responsibility as your auditors for these specific audits is to ensure that the expenditures that have been expended by the councillors during the year that are for the councillors selected are in compliance with the policy, with the councillor ward allowance fund policy. And then also to make recommendations on the actual policy if there's anything that is vague and is subject to interpretation, which we have done in the past. And as you know, probably every year there's a certain amendment that is done to the policy that's put forward to yourselves as the governance committee. So we also deal with quite a few different groups. So there's a lot of departments that are involved in ensuring that the councillors follow the policy in their expenditures. And we deal with the city clerk's department, who are great at answering questions and supplying the support that we need to do the audit. And we know that they're also responsible for providing the councillors accounting and financial support, and then also interpreting the policy and also putting forward amendments to the policy, sometimes based on our audit. The corporate finance department actually does the accounting for the expenditures and then are responsible for posting your expenditures to the city's website. And then yourselves as the governance committee of council get to talk to us once a year, and then are responsible for the appropriateness of expenditures brought to their attention. If there's any issues, you have to review them, and also looking at those amendments to the policy that are sometimes suggested. So going through the audit highlights, we have completed the audit. We do focus on risk areas where there were errors in the past. cutoff, we look at if things are in the proper period, because of course that matters when you're allocated a certain allowance every year. We look at donation receipts to ensure that they're not in the counselor's name. We look at salaries of the counselor assistants because that makes up a huge chunk of your allowance. And we make sure that that is appropriately supported by documentation, the city's payroll department. And then so we went through all those procedures focusing on that risk. If you look on the right-hand side of page 5, there were no uncorrected misstatements to report, no corrections to report, no control deficiencies to report. So very clean, as I said. Page 6, we always have to calculate a materiality, which is a baseline for if there was an error found, we wouldn't be able to give a clean audit opinion. So that was calculated at 2,000. We audit at about 10% of that. So we audit at a very low level at about $200. And if there were issues found, we'd have to accumulate any errors above or below this, above this 200 threshold. There are no errors to communicate. I'll go to page 7. So we went through all the risk categories that I spoke of, where we pick samples from each of the 5 counselors selected, and then get support for these, discuss with the different departments to get support that the expenditures are in compliance with the policy. We test 100% of the salaries for the counselor's assistants, and based on all that work, there were no discrepancies to note. And that's page 8 is observations and recommendations. So there were none this year, which usually there's at least one, but none this year. So very good job for the 5 counselors selected. It was clean. Page 9, we're always required to go through last year's observation. And so this is an update. Last year's observation related to the unexpended funds carryover. And so the policy was updated last year or in 2023. And we just suggest that the policy should be more clearly specified over the different buckets related to this, the unexpended funds carryover. And I know that I think there's an amendment being put forward for the policy relating to this, and that I think is going to happen. And then the rest of the report, I'll just take you to page 12. We always have to report on how the audit went, and from our perspective, it went very well. So thank you to everyone involved. Our team composition, we've been lucky. I've been so lucky to have Mustafa help me, and then Mario has been the senior for a number of years, and he understands the policy so well and how to do the audit. And then everyone was ready for us, and we had our sample pulled, and everyone got back to us what we needed on a timely basis. So just wanted everyone to know that went very well. And that concludes my report. I wasn't going to go through the actual report in any detail. It just has the expenditures listed, what the carry forward is, and then has clean audit opinions, which is very important.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Report, and it was attached to the agenda as well for full transparency. We'll take any questions. I just want to go over again the amendment that we hope to do in the coming minutes. Sorry, it's really loud in the lobby just at this moment. It's okay. Some celebrations going on out there. Okay. In terms of the amendment that we'll be doing in the future, it was regarding the carryover at the end of the year. You're having trouble hearing, I think.
Yeah, I am. I have it on full.
Okay. It's the carryover at the end of the year.
Yes.
Okay, we are by practice carrying over the funds into the 3 specific unique categories, but you wanted to see that formalized, correct?
In the policy, Carlos, is there an amendment going forward?
today.
Yeah, not today, but again, we are working with the committee on cleaning that up.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that that's what you were looking for.
Yes,
Categories that any rollover, go back into those categories. That's what we're doing as a practice. And we can certainly formalize it in the policy.
yes, I think we just wanted it a bit more clear in the policy.
Right. Thank you. Any
Yeah.
questions here? Council? I just want to go back to page 5 once again. The audit highlights there was no issues in any of the categories you mentioned, no corrections that had to be made. That's positive news.
Yeah, it's very good.
Questions, Shannon, at this time? I just really wanted to thank you for your efforts, yourself and Mustafa Osman, Mario and others on your team. We've worked with you for many years now. It's important, to have these audits, but I also want to say on the other hand, we have very clear rules and procedures around how we can expend funds through the councillor's water allowance policy. We have excellent support through our city clerk's team, and there's different layers and checks and balances. So with all that said, I'm not surprised that it's no concerns arose with this audit, and happy to see that.
Yeah, it's very good. It makes our job easier too.
Thank you. Any further questions? And if not, Councillor Oloko, I believe you have a motion.
You ready? That the 2024 Council's Water Allowance Audit Findings and Expenditure Report for 5 councils selected randomly be submitted to the Executive Policy Committee for information and forwarded to the July 17th, 2025 council meeting under the communications section of the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, that's carried. Shannon, just one more question for you, if you don't mind. It's important to get this audit done in time for our July council meeting. I think that's the goal, Mr. Clerk. And for in timing, you have enough time to get it to this meeting? Is there any way that we can get it to the May meeting in the future, or is that a really tight time frame for you?
I think we could. Would that help you out?
Well, I think it's just, you could, but I think at the city too, we have to sort of get all the information to you. So I was just,
Yes.
you're comfortable with this date though in June?
We would, we start this in the beginning of April, and I don't think there's any reason why we couldn't, because I think we have draft reports by the 3rd week of May, and we could have them a bit earlier than that.
Yeah, and there's the work you do, but there's also the work we do and to get you the information that you need. And I was just curious, but this timeline is comfortable for you for this meeting, correct?
This timeline is comfortable, yeah, but you're thinking about moving it up to
Well,
May?
I'd just like to know, comfort level or something. Okay, we'll talk offline.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. And the other thing I just wanted to put on the record is it's I do like this random sampling of the code. Councillors are not aware ahead of time if they're going to be chosen for the audit. And we'll be following that process once again next year.
Great. I think that's good.
Reference, Shannon, appreciate your time.
Thank you. Very nice seeing everyone. Have a great weekend.
As well, thank you. I
Thank
also
you.
want to go back to the minutes, Mr. Clerk. Councillor Dobson, we would move that the minutes of the last meeting.
Yes, could I move that the minutes of the meeting held on May 15, 2025 be taken as read and confirmed?
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried. Okay, we'll now move the president. Councillor Lawrence,
I move adjournment.
all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried.
Super.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
you. Oh, I just didn't want to.